All right, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from StreetScores. I appreciate all of the birthday wishes for my Dukes. Appreciate y'all, man. But now, I'm finally back home. Finally got some time. Let's break down the defensive depth chart and roster for the Washington Commanders. And of course, again, if you didn't see the offensive half of it, first of all, go check that out. But also, starters, names are in orange, yellow for guys that pretty much guaranteed to make the team. They'll be a part of the rotation. Then the names start to get a little bit more faded, and all the way to the point where if a name is white, I just doubt they even make the team or the roster. I also have some position groups where I'm screaming, please get us a rookie here, like a rookie within the first 4 rounds type of rookie, not just a random undrafted free agent or a 7th rounder. Of course, we're going to dive into every single individual position group, like I'm even breaking up defensive tackles from edge rushers. Then of course we're going to talk linebackers, outside corners, slot corners, safeties, and then of course your 3 special teamers. But before we get into everything, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get a notification each and every time I release an informative and opinion video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned for more content like this one. I should be a little less busy the next few days, so I'm trying to get back to like 2-3 videos a day, and I really like, my priority is the Javon Kinlaw video, man. So make sure I stay tuned. Without further ado, let's go and dive into this video right now, man. Let's get it. Adam. All right, so starting with the interior defensive line, now things get a little interesting here because you have very specific players that like they do one particular thing. They're here for that. You have a couple other guys where they can kind of do a little bit of both. Then you even have Javon Kinlaw, who I have in orange. And don't get me wrong, again, Johnny Newton and Eddie Goldman will play a lot. I'm just not necessarily sure if they're certified starters. Javon Kinlaw, say whatever you want about the contract that we're giving him. This team loves him. And again, I'm going, my whole Javon Kinlaw video, the reason it's taking this so long is because I really want to do a great job of convincing those of y'all who don't like the Javon Kinlaw signing why you should like it. And those of y'all who already like it, I'm going to try to convince you why you should love this signing. But either way, Javon Kinlaw offers you versatility to where I feel like he's going to play defensive tackle more times than not, but he will play a lot of edge rusher. Like I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 60-40, 60 tackle, 40% edge rusher. I would not be surprised at all. I think he's going to be used with a lot of versatility, and I think they're very high on him. That's why I already put his name in orange, and I think Daron Payne's name is going to be in orange as well because right now he's your highest paid player on the entire roster. So you're hoping he's good, but they're going to force him to be good. You're playing a lot. You're going to earn that money basically. And don't forget, the way that his contract is set up, this is his last year with guaranteed money. We could end up Jonathan Allen in him next season. No guaranteed money, cut him, trade him, lose absolutely nothing, no dead cap, gain all of that cap space back. So I wouldn't be surprised if Daron Payne just shows his, from history, being a contract guy. As soon as he had that contract coming up to where it was time to re-sign him, extend him, that's when he had his best season by far ever in his NFL career. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out there and does that this year. And honestly, I wouldn't be mad at it. I'm trying to win a Super Bowl. I feel like we have a strong case for being Super Bowl contenders, especially when you have Jaden Daniels on your team. And so, hey, if Daron Payne fakes us out with another elite year, and then we end up paying him some good money, and then he sucks again next year, as long as we get a Super Bowl out of it, I'm okay with it. But if we don't get a Super Bowl out of it, and if Daron Payne is showing you any signs that this guy only plays well when it's a contract year, then at best you give that man 1-year deals for the rest of his life. That's the only strategy to fix the Daron Payne situation. He's just one of those guys, he's not going to play to a certain level unless it's for money. Specifically, I got to go get this money. I got to go get this bread this year. And so, hey, if that's what it takes, Daron Payne, we're going to start signing you to 1-year deals perpetually for the rest of your career. Then Johnny Newton. Now, this is where I want to break it down, because Eddie Goldman and Johnny Newton are going to play a lot of snaps. That's why there's a different shade of yellow for their names compared to Sheldon Day, who may make the roster. I believe if it's between Sheldon Day and Norrell Pollard, I think Sheldon Day gets the edge, but I wouldn't be surprised if we bring in a rookie, maybe even a undrafted free agent, or maybe some veteran free agent that's still available out there, maybe after the draft though, because like I said in my offense breakdown video, the same exact type of video, but we did the offense yesterday, I said that I don't think we're going to sign any more veteran free agents until after the draft. They're probably waiting to see what they can come away with in their draft class, undrafted free agents as well. And then maybe they'll start to target like Justin Simmons at safety, Elijah Moore at wide receiver, or whatever else. So potentially defensive line wise, as of today, just without a draft class included, of course, then I think Sheldon Day would be that 5th defensive tackle right there. As you can see, last year we kept 5 on the initial 53-man roster, and again, like I explained in my offense video yesterday, don't read too much into the initial 53-man rosters, because remember, there's like a deadline for that, and then all NFL teams have to cut their rosters down to 53 players, and then there are probably some players out there that we like that we want to add to our teams. So some guys may make the initial 53-man roster cut, and then just like within a couple of hours get cut after we like some of the guys that other teams cut, and then we bring them in, and now we're cutting that player and hoping he comes back to the practice squad or something. But that initial 53-man roster should never be read into too much. But at the same time, we kept 5 going into that initial 53-man roster cut. And if I had to pick a 5th, I'll say Sheldon Day. But most importantly, I see Johnny Newton being in more pass rush situations. I see Eddie Goldman being in more pure run stop, 3rd and 1, 4th and inches, tush push situations, goal line, because he is basically a zero tech nose tackle, a true double team eater that we've been needing for a while. But at the same time, I think Eddie Goldman is the exact player that could unlock Johnny Newton's potential, because if Johnny Newton is not facing double teams, because Eddie Goldman is being a nose tackle and he's the one eating up all of the double teams, that's when you're going to see a better Johnny Newton. I like Johnny Newton in one-on-ones, especially when it comes to getting after the quarterback, exploding into the backfield, getting penetration. So Eddie Goldman is going to make everybody's job around him better. Like I compared him when I did my full Eddie Goldman breakdown after watching this film. I brought y'all stats, everything. If you haven't seen that, make sure you go check it out. But long story short, he's kind of like an attribute booster. Like if you play video games or anything like that, he's that type of character that makes everybody around him attributes go up. Like, because he's naturally just going to take away so much offensive line attention from the other guys. Johnny Newton was terrible against double teams last year. Well, now Eddie Goldman, if he's on the field with Johnny Newton will see way less double teams. So I'm really excited. Eddie Goldman isn't like a Pro Bowl caliber player or something like that, even though just a few years ago for the Bears, you could argue that he was, but after retiring twice, who knows what he still has left in him. But at the very least, he's going to come in here, stop the run, eat up double teams, and allow Johnny Newton, Deron Payne, and Javon Kinlaw to do what they do best in one-on-one situations. They'll get them more often now than they did last year, especially. Now, moving on to the edge rushers. Now, as you can see, I have rookie draft pick in all caps all around that sentence, because I feel like this should be your first round pick. I mean, I want running back real bad as well. I want a home run threat running back. Travion Henderson is probably my favorite fit for us, but I'll take like a Trevor Etienne, maybe in like the 4th round or something like that. That's cool with me as well. But edge rusher, I feel like right now is definitively our biggest need, because we don't have much pass rush. Now, Dorrance Armstrong, whose name is in orange, you're only guaranteed starting on one side of the defensive line edge rusher. He's your only one right now. And hey, if he can give us what he gave us in the playoffs throughout the course of an entire season, not just in random flashes, then we're set at least on one side. But that's an if in itself, let alone who else is going to help rush the passer. Now, granted, like I've explained in several videos, we have gotten way better at stopping the run on the defensive line. I mean, just going back to Eddie Goldman on the interior defensive line, even Javon Kinlaw, when he's not running past the play, he's pretty dominant against the run as well. He has flashes, but all of these, literally Cleveland Farrell, Dietrich Wise Jr., and Jacob Martin, even though he's a little undersized, he's pretty decent against stopping the run. And Javonte Jean-Baptiste showed flashes. This is a way better run-stopping defensive line by far than last year. Last year, we were dead last in run-stopping. I would be shocked if we're not at least top 10 with these guys that we have, at least run-stopping. But the problem is, who's rushing the passer, which takes me back to my point. Dorrance Armstrong, if he could somehow take that sample size of the playoffs that we got, that bend, that explosion off the ball, that extremely quick first step, if we could get that throughout the course of an entire regular and postseason, then we're good on one side. But again, that's a big if. And so even then, Even just say Dorrance Armstrong unlocks his full-blown potential. Who's going to rush the passer from the other side to where offensive lines don't just shift their focus to the side of Dorrance Armstrong and shut him down? Who's going to be on the other side to force them, okay, we got to stay even, we got to stay disciplined, and everybody's going to see one-on-ones. So Jacob Martin, who came from the Bears, I mean, you could argue he was even more efficient than Dante Fowler last year. Even though he only had like 4.5 sacks, Dante Fowler had 10.5. He played way less snaps than Dante Fowler. Again, efficiency-wise, you could argue he was maybe the more efficient, the better player. So maybe coming here getting more snaps or whatever we need. Maybe he can rush the passer on obvious passing downs like 3rd and long, but I don't love him to set the edge and stop the run. Dietrich Wise, who we signed over from the Patriots, he came like a day before or after Jonathan Jones, who we also signed from the Patriots as well. He's going to help against the run at corner. We'll talk about him later. But Dietrich Wise is a really good run stopper, edge setter. Again, we had none of that last year. Cleveland Farrell was supposed to be that guy, but he couldn't stay healthy. That's why Dante Fowler had to play so many snaps. Dante Fowler, the plan for him was never for him to be on the field on 1st and 10, 2nd or whatever's. He was supposed to be 3rd and longs only. That's it, 4th and longs. Obvious, they are definitely passing the ball. There's no way they do anything else type of downs. Basically what we're projecting Jacob Martin to be for us right now. But Cleveland Farrell kept staying hurt, so that's how Dante Fowler was forced to be out there. Dante Fowler and Dorrance Armstrong have not been good against the run and setting the edge. That's why you bring in Dietrich Wise. We'll see if Javonte Jean-Baptiste, as a 7th round pick last year, he's going into his 2nd season, and he got hurt a lot last year, so he didn't even get to play a full season and get like a full development season in. So he's going to be like a semi-rookie going into the season. So are you dependent on Javonte Jean-Baptiste as a semi-rookie 7th round pick from 2024? Jacob Martin, who, I mean, again, I love his efficiency as far as rushing the passer, but he only had 4.5 sacks last year. And then Dorrance Armstrong. Right now, those are your only hopes as far as rushing the passer. I mean, maybe you can go back at defensive tackle, and again, with Eddie Goldman eating up double teams, maybe you're projecting that Javon Kinlaw, with his freakish athleticism, Johnny Newton, with what he literally showed you in college over and over again and what he has the potential to do. But again, he just didn't really get the chance to do that last year with having to deal with so many double teams. And Deron Payne, again, he gave you double-digit sacks on a contract year. Can he do that again this year? So, I mean, right now, your best and most hopeful pass rush is coming from your interior defensive line right now, not your edge rushers, and that's good. Now, like I've said several times before, I prefer to be a defense that's great at stopping the run but bad at getting after the quarterback than the opposite. Way more, not even close. There's so much variance in the passing game that even if your defense isn't good, the offense can be off schedule. The timing, the accuracy of the quarterback, or the quarterback not even reading what's open, the wide receiver running the wrong route, timing being off, dropping the pass. Whereas running the ball, if you're not good at stopping the run, team's just going to do it over and over again. It's far less volatile as far as what you expect to produce from just running the ball. I mean, of course you can fumble. Things can happen, but it's not as volatile as passing the ball. So you got to be able to stop the run to have any chance on defense at all. Rushing the passer is nice and all, and I know it is a passing league, but I'm way happier what we have right now going into this 2025 season than what we ever had last year in 2024. I hated watching the fact that we couldn't even stop the run, even just as like a personality trait, like as an identity of the team. We couldn't stop the run. It was basically like teams were just punking us. Like, we dare you to stop us. Like, we're coming right up the middle and you can't do nothing about it. I mean, at the very least, pride-wise, you know what I'm saying? So I'm happy with what we have. I want to get better, and that's why I'm screaming for us to get a rookie in the first round, a pass rushing rookie. I'll even take a situational pass rusher that's elite at what he does. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's not a guy that you're necessarily expecting to play on 1st and 2nd downs, even though that would be ideal, we need to prioritize pass rush with that 1st round pick that we have. I'm not gonna lie, but that's just me. Then linebacker-wise, Frankie Louvu, Jordan McGee, and Bobby Wagner will be on the field a lot. You already saw at times last year when Jordan McGee was healthy, they threw him on the field a lot, and he was making plays, he was making tackles, he was covering well. This team is extremely high on Jordan McGee. And I feel like a lot of the fan base forgets about him. They sleep on him, but I've been very high on him since we drafted him. He was one of the most athletic players in the entire draft class last year. And I'm not just talking linebackers. I'm talking out of anybody that was drafted in the 2024 draft. Jordan McGee was one of the most athletic guys there. And so it's just a matter of him staying healthy so that he can continue to develop. And he's essentially, they're viewing him as the Bobby Wagner successor for whenever Bobby Wagner calls it quits, maybe after this season. And I talked about that in my offense video, that right now we don't have a Zach Ertz successor. So I would like to find that in the draft somehow. We'll see. Maybe that's something we'll deal with later. But at least in the linebacker room, you have your next Bobby Wagner, at least from Adam Peters and Dan Quinn's point of view, and Jordan McGee. I'm not saying Jordan McGee is going to be an automatic lockdown Hall of Famer day one as soon as he's eligible. I'm not saying he's going to be that multi-time All-Pro and things like that, but I think a linebacker duo of Jordan McGee and Frankie Louvu could be really good for us for years to come. Then Nick Bellore, he's yellow because he's a dominant special teamer. He led our team in special teams tackles. We didn't sign him until right before week 1. He didn't have training camp or anything with us. He missed all of that. I don't even think he had preseason with us. And then he still found a way, even with Tyler Owens and Jeremy Reeves, All-Pro Revo. Tyler Owens demanded double teams when he was out there. Jeremy Reeves is an All-Pro special teamer. Nick Bellore still was the guy that led your team in special teams tackles. So that's why his name is yellow. You don't ever want him on the field as a linebacker, but I throw him on here because he is technically a linebacker, even though he's purely special teams. And then Dominique Hampton, 5th round pick from last year, trying to make the transition from free safety to off-ball linebacker. I think he was inactive every game last season until the very last game, literally week 18, 17th game of the season against the Dallas Cowboys, and he only played just a few special team snaps, none on defense. So maybe he's a guy that they feel like they could probably even practice squad him more than likely. We'll see, especially if they bring in a younger linebacker like a rookie or something like that. Who knows? Then outside cornerback, just to let you know, they only kept 3 last year. And I'm not going to lie, man, we need a rookie draft pick right here. Now, granted, you can get a little creative because technically Mike Sanderstill, when in doubt, break glass case of an emergency. Mike Sanderstill, I'm very comfortable with him starting outside again. But you can already tell just by the little things, reading in between the lines, Dan Quinn, Joey Jr., Adam Peters, they really want him in the slot because they feel like he could be a really good outside corner. And I kind of agree, he could be an elite slot corner. I feel like Mike Sanderstill could one day be the best slot corner in the NFL. I feel like he has that level of potential. I don't think he'll ever be one of the best outside corners, though. So efficiency-wise, you prefer him in the slot. But right now, I mean, unless you trust Jonathan Jones to start an outside corner for you, which is solid. I mean, that's way better than anything Benjamin St-Juste and Michael Davis gave us last year. I know that's a low bar, but he's at the very least way better than them, not only in coverage, but against the run especially. So Marshon Lattimore, you're hoping that maybe with a full off season and finally being 100% healthy, that he'll be what we wanted him to be when we traded for him. And then right now, even if Marshon Lattimore is playing at an all-pro level, he somehow, best case scenario, gets back to that form, and that's a big if right there. Similar to Dorrance Armstrong, we're talking big ifs right now. I'm not depending on this, but I'm just saying this is like the best case scenario possible. Marshon Lattimore goes back to being a Pro Bowl level player. I guess you're just hoping Jonathan Jones can hold it down as the other outside corner, or maybe you prefer Marshon Lattimore, Mike Sanderstill as your outside corners, and then your starting slot corner is Noah Benogany or Jonathan Jones. Either way, that group of 4 corners is way better than anything we had last year at any point. So it is an upgrade, but I'm still screaming, find a rookie draft pick for me. Especially if you don't plan on taking running back within the first 2 rounds, then maybe one of those, maybe second round you spend on a potential starting corner. I would not mind that at all. I think that would be a good strategy. Of course, you have Allen George and Bobby Price on the roster, but I mean, I just don't even think they're going to make it. I'm not even sure if those guys make the practice squad, let alone the 53-man roster. And then again, going back to slot corner, we only kept 2 last year. I'm assuming that's how many we'll keep this year. I feel like this is one of the safest ones to assume. Like out of any other position group with outside corner keeping 3, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? Linebackers keeping 4. We'll see, even though I'm pretty confident in that. Edge rusher, we kept 5 last year. Interior defensive lineman, defensive tackle, we kept 5. But I'm willing to bet out of any of these position groups that we talk about today, that top right area, I'm pretty sure slot corner will be what we did last year. That's the one I'm most confident that, okay, we kept 2 last year, we're going to keep 2 this year. Mike Sanderstill, ideally, best case scenario, especially if you can bring in a rookie that's able to start opposite of Marshon Lattimore outside corner. Mike Sanderstill, your starting slot corner, and now you have one of the best cornerback tandems in the entire NFL. Noah Benogany is very solid off the bench as a depth player. I mean, he had to start as outside corner for the first couple of weeks for us until they figured out that they should just go ahead and move Mike Sanderstill to the outside moved Noah Benogany inside. And then once Noah Benogany moved to slot, he started the rest of the season for us. Now he's projected to be a backup depth player. Again, just shows you how much better we got in the cornerback room this offseason already, even though it's still not complete. And again, I would love to spend a first or preferably a second round pick, maybe even the fourth, because I want edge rusher and running back that bad. I would like to find a starting corner in this rookie class somewhere. But hey, man, at the very least, we don't have Noah Benogany starting for you, and we don't have Benjamin St-Juste and Michael Davis either starting or playing for you at all. That's already just an upgrade alone. We'll see what we get out of Marshawn Lattimore. We'll see what happens with a potential rookie, but Jonathan Jones is way better than anything we had last year outside of Mike Sanverstill, Marshawn Lattimore, and Noah Benogany. And you could argue that Jonathan Jones, like when I did my video breakdown of him, Pro Football Focus feels like he was the best. Like today, right now, he's the best corner on our entire roster according to their grading system. So you can't really go wrong with them, but I would prefer to bring in a rookie starter or a starter somewhere. I don't know if they're, I mean, Asante Samuel Jr. is maybe still available. He's just terrible against the run. He just doesn't do anything against the run, and that is not the identity that Joe Wood Jr. and Dan Quinn want. They want a lot of run stoppers. Jonathan Jones is great against the run as an outside corner. Marshawn Lattimore, he may not be the most efficient, but at least he's willing. He will go in there and get in the ugly areas and get into some full contact situations and try to blow up an edge rusher and things like that. Benjamin St-Juste was scared of contact, and Michael Davis was just plain old bad at it. So, you know, there's a clear identity that they're going for here. They're going for aggression, physicality, toughness, all of that type of stuff. And then moving on to the safety group, we kept 6 last year. I'm also assuming that we probably bring in a rookie draft pick. It would be nice. You know what I'm saying? If you're thinking of like a Malachi Starks, again, if you don't go edge rusher or running back for whatever reason in the first or second rounds, maybe a Malachi Starks or Nick Amawari falls to us. I can see him, because I like Will Harris. I like Will Harris a lot. And Will Harris, maybe not as good as Jeremy Chin overall, but he's definitely better than him in coverage. He's definitely a big upgrade in coverage, strong safety-wise, over a Jeremy Chin. So maybe you're comfortable with him starting, but I feel like personally Will Harris is excellent depth. I feel like if Will Harris is your third safety, Quan Martin's your starter, you somehow find a rookie, or maybe you go sign Justin Simmons after the draft or something like that. I'm screaming sign Justin Simmons today. I would sign Justin Simmons right now. Elijah Moore, receiver, and Justin Simmons as safety. I want them right now. I would love to wake up after putting out this video that we signed one or both of those guys. I don't even care how stupid I look in this video talking about please sign them, and then we already signed them by the time y'all are watching. I don't care. I just want them on the team. Either way, I just feel like we need to be 3 deep at safety, because right now Percy Butler, I like his talent, but I don't trust him to be out there a lot on defense. I like him in special teams. Great punt coverage. Great at punt coverage. But Jeremy Reeves, elite special teams coverage, kickoff coverage. Same thing with Tyler Owens, but I'm not expecting those guys to necessarily contribute on defense. So right now we're technically only 2 deep at safety that's like trustworthy of putting on the field. And I think ideally, best case scenario, Will Harris is your backup depth safety. Whenever you want to have 3 safeties on the field, he can come in then. But I don't necessarily want Will Harris starting as strong safety for me. But again, I do want to emphasize the fact that he is better than Jeremy Chin in coverage. Jeremy Chin, you can maybe argue, was slightly better against the run and in the box just because he's a way bigger guy. But at the same time, Will Harris is an upgrade in coverage. So at the very least, we'll be more of a no-fly zone with Will Harris. But again, ideally, best case scenario, he's depth and not a starter for you. But that would make us a really good DB group. And if we had to prioritize one thing over another, I feel like maybe you can live with Will Harris starting at strong safety for you while Quan Martin is starting at free safety. Even though ideally for me, Quan Martin moves back to strong safety. Will Harris is your Buffalo nickel, Jeremy Chin type of role that he was supposed to be coming here. And then you draft that rookie is a free safety, a rangy free safety that can run single high. I love Quan Martin, but I don't love him in single high free safety type of stuff. I don't feel like he has that type of range. He has elite explosion. Like he's very quick and things like that, but I don't feel like he has enough speed to have the range that I want. So I would love to get like a pure rangy free safety type. Maybe like a Justin Simmons, even though he's getting up there in age. Quan Martin is your strong safety. Will Harris rotates in as like your third safety on the field, your Buffalo nickel. That's an elite safety group, I feel like, honestly. Like, we could go from good to great with that type of setup, whether it's a rookie or Justin Simmons. And then again, I mean, I guess you have Ben Nickel, but that's probably a practice squad player right there. I think he was an undrafted free agent just from last year. Not expecting him to make much noise there, but we'll see. And then lastly, of course, your specialist, Tyler Ott, is I don't think he made the Pro Bowl last year, did he? Or I know he has been to the Pro Bowl as a long snapper. So you're set there. You're good to go. You re-signed Tressway as your punter on a 1-year deal. Let's go ahead and get that boy a ring before he calls it quits. You're great at punter. I have a problem with kicker right now. So that's why mystery kicker is in orange, because I don't think Zane Gonzalez is in white. I don't think by the time we're getting down to 53-man roster cuts early September that Zane Gonzalez is your kicker. I wouldn't be surprised if he sticks around at least till training camp, as we have like a kicker competition, but I just refuse to believe Zane Gonzalez will be your starting kicker going into week 1. You can keep him on speed dial in case the initial kicker that you had has some crazy off the field issues that ended up actually being nothing like Brandon McManus, or if you have an injury to the kicker or for whatever reason. But I don't want to assume week 1 Zane Gonzalez is our kicker. I'm to the point that even maybe our very last pick of the draft, that very last 7th round pick, maybe you take a kicker then. Like, we need kicker that bad in my opinion. Maybe I'll do a video breaking down all of the kickers that we could potentially get, whether it be a free agent, whether it be a draft guy. That's probably an interesting topic that I could really dive into, because I'm curious now, what are our kicker options? I don't really just know kickers off the top of my head draft wise, and I'm not even exactly sure who's available in free agency right now. I just know that Zane Gonzalez is not the guy I want going into week 1. And again, if for whatever reason we need to call Zane Gonzalez back up from the practice squad or whatever to come kick for us, cool. Like, I don't think he's just horrible, but I don't think we should go into week 1 assuming he's your starter. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know if you feel about everything discussed in the video. Please still follow that like button, still follow the subscription button, still follow the bell next to that subscription button, so you get notification each and every time I release informative and opinion videos just like this one. So now that things have calmed down, I finally had the time to just do an overall roster and depth chart update. Granted, we can end up signing some guys tomorrow, and now I got to update it again. But now that we have that out the way, we know what our roster's looking like. We can kind of identify what our biggest weaknesses are right now. That's why I emphasize rookie draft pick, or maybe some free agents like Elijah Moore or Justin Simmons we could get. Now that we know that, we can start to move on to other things. I can start to do more deep dives into certain position groups. If you haven't checked it out, I did a full dive into the running back class, like all of the top players, my favorite sleepers, and I gave comps for every single running back I talked about in that video. What was it, about like 10 of them, 10, 12? So I'm probably going to do deep dives like that for the edge rusher group, wide receivers, maybe offensive line. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? So be on the lookout for stuff like that. The Javon Kinlaw videos on the way, all kinds of stuff. But of course, let me know in the comment section how you feel about everything. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my opinions. Anywhere where I have some players starting, where I have some players as backup, some players not making the team. Do you agree with me where I want rookies and like how serious I am about getting a rookie to where I'm willing to spend a 1st, 2nd, or 4th round pick on certain positions like edge rusher and things like that? Let me know how you feel about everything I said again, because if you disagree, let me know why you disagree. Make sure you back it up, because I could be wrong. Make sure I one of the main reasons I started this YouTube channel was to be a hub for just smart football, and a lot of the times y'all help me become smarter, because y'all will correct me on something. I'm like, oh, y'all are right. So please let me know exactly how y'all feel. Like, be completely transparent. Of course, make sure you leave a like on the way out and be on the lookout for more videos. Catch y'all later. Appreciate y'all. I'm out.